I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We have a special guest, Consul General Young from the Chinese Consul General in Chicago. Although I've been saying that maybe he needs to move to Des Moines because he's been spending a lot of time here the last 3 weeks. He's been working with us on planning Vice President Xi's visit to Iowa, which is a week from today. The Vice President will be here, and so we're very excited about that. The upcoming visit of Vice President Xi is obviously a very exciting thing for Iowa. We think it's going to be a very memorable occasion, not just for us, but the people of China and people all over the world. This visit will be an incredible opportunity to educate Iowans on how significant the relationship between China and Iowa is and how long it's been going on, starting with the fact that, of course, President Nixon, 40 years ago, went to China, and that was the beginning of opening up the relationship between the United States and China. In 1983, my predecessor, Bob Ray, went to China. In 1982, Bob Ray went to China. In 1983, Zhang Shuguang, the governor of the Hebei province, came to Des Moines, and Governor Zhang Shuguang and I signed a sister state agreement. And then Governor Zhang Shuguang invited me to come to China in 1984. And my wife and I led a delegation, a large delegation, trade mission that went to China in '84. We went to Hong Kong and then to China and then to Japan. But we took a train from Beijing to Shijiazhuang. It was kind of like going back in time in a sense. It was an old steam locomotive. By the way, Iowa bought the last steam locomotive that was produced in China. It's the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad. And my wife and I live in log home now in Boone County, so we actually have the last steam locomotive that was produced in China because we wanted to have that as part of our scenic railroad. But so in 1984, we were met at the train depot by a band and a large delegation. They presented my wife with a wonderful bouquet of flowers, and we were warmly welcomed there, and we had a wonderful time. We were there during the State Day, October 1st, 1984. And then, in the spring of 1985, Xi Jinping, who at that time was a local party leader in Shijiazhuang, was head of the Feed Association of Shijiazhuang, led a delegation that came to Iowa. And so last September, and normally when I go on these trade missions, the highest level person I would meet with might be a governor of a province or something like that. I had the honor of meeting with Vice President Xi in the Great Hall of the People just off of Tiananmen Square, and we thought we were going to have about a 15-minute meeting, and it lasted for 50 minutes. The very first thing that Vice President Xi said to me was, I was in your office at the state capitol in Des Moines on the 26th day of April of 1985. And then he went on to say, the staff person from economic development that was assigned to him was Luca Baroni, and the person in charge of the sister states was Sarah Landy. And he had his entire itinerary from 26 years previously, and he went on at great length saying about how well he was received in Iowa, how friendly the people of Iowa was, and how much he enjoyed his visit here, and he stayed with the family in Muscatine, and he also got a chance to visit farms and really learn about Iowa. And out of that visit and the wonderful reception we received, I sent him a thank you letter and also invited him to come back to Iowa and that we would put together a reunion of the old friends that he met here in 1985. And so we're excited that he's taken us up on that offer, and with the help of the Consul General, we've got a very exciting trip planned. I've just kind of disregarded my notes and went. With this, let me just say that we think that this is a great opportunity for Iowa. We know that Iowa exports to China have increased 1,300% in the last decade. That China has a growing and more a growing middle class. They're becoming more and more prosperous. The demand for protein in the diet is growing, and we think that since Iowa is a leading producer of soybeans, corn, pork, we are in a very wonderful position there. Already many Iowa companies have done a lot of business there. And so with that, let me just say how much I've enjoyed working with Consul General Young. He has been a great representative of the people of China here in the Midwest, and we're proud to have his collaboration and help in putting together this exciting trip from Vice President Xi. So let me turn it over to Consul General Young.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and everybody here. Good morning. And I feel so honored and so appreciated to be invited by Governor and Lieutenant Governor of Iowa to attend this press briefing. And also, I should say thank you very much, because this has been arranged in a very, very short time and with a very short notice. I've recognized some of my press friends from Chicago also arrived on this event, and actually they traveled. They came out to Chicago quite early this morning, I believe. And thank you so much. And as Governor just mentioned, it's quite excitement for people in Iowa and also for people in Midwest, because last year, also in January, our President Hu Jintao visited Chicago on his trip to the United States after his visit to D.C. And this year, luckily enough, even with a very, very short time frame of our Vice President's visit to the United States, we can share probably almost a day here in Iowa. And it's also the heart of the Midwest here. And just now we were talking about the position of Iowa. I should say Iowa is the heart of the farmland of the U.S. and very, very important. And you have just listened the wonderful story that happened 26, 27 years ago. Our Vice President Xi Jinping visited Iowa and spent 2 full weeks here in Iowa, and especially a few days in Muscatine, and had a homestay there. And all this really built his personal, friendly relations with Iowa and with many families and many businesses here. And what the governor just now missed, I think I want to make it up.
Okay.
Governor himself received Vice President Xi Jinping 26 years ago right here upstairs.
Upstairs office, that's right.
In the office.
That's right.
And at that time, Governor Branstad was the governor here in Iowa.
I was a young governor then.
And Mr. Xi, Vice President Xi, was a young party leader in the Zhengding County of Hebei Province. And because of the efforts from both sides, Hebei Province, Iowa, and Chinese people, American people, our bilateral relations really have been developing last 40 years into a very, very important bilateral relations in the world. Probably, I should say, the most important bilateral relations in the world today. And also the friendship has been built up among people to people, really have reached the top, of the level of these two countries in the past history. And I think this friendship will be prolonged forever and will be developed further. And the reason why Vice President Xi personally chose Iowa, Muscatine, Des Moines to be his most important place to visit is that because the friendship that has been built since 1985 when he was here. And it's a truly a very touching story, at such a high senior level leader, he still remembered every scene, every moment, every member of the friends and families very vividly. And so we feel so wonderful and so honored to have him be in Iowa again. It's going to be a very, very touching reunion event as for friendship. And President Hu Jintao and President Obama decided last year in Washington, D.C., our two greatest countries in the world are going to build up together a partnership, strategic, cooperative partnership with mutual respect and mutual benefit. And all this partnership will be benefiting to the people of our two countries and also to the peace of the world and to the people of the world. So Vice President Xi's visit to U.S. is going to be another very, very important and historical visit among the senior leaders of our two countries. And Iowa and Hebei province, as Governor just mentioned, has been sister province and state for quite many years, almost 30 years now.
Right.
And so this sister relation has brought us a lot of mutual contacts, education, culture, people to people, agriculture, and machineries, all kinds of businesses. And this also brought great businesses to Iowa, to Midwest. And we know many corporate companies and businesses went to China and built up their market network. And that's why help the export from Iowa to China. Our bilateral trade between Iowa and China has been 13 times more than that of 10 years ago. And all this will create more jobs, will help the local economy, and also will help China to develop further. And the hospitality of Iowa and Midwest is quite known to Chinese now because of the president's visit last year and also the story of our vice president, and he built up and he has been received in 27 years ago, and in the last 27 years, of course, all this has been lasted. And plus, there are some very touching stories happened in last few years and last decades. And we have our state senator, elected senator to the federal, Mr. Dennis Black. And he's quite known for his donations, his generosity to help the people who suffered from the big quake happened in Sichuan province. And a few years ago, and he donated $10,000 to the people over there. So Chinese people have really realized the generosity of people from Iowa and feel so grateful about the relations. And also, there are so many Chinese now moving to Iowa to receive higher education. Today we have 3,349 students, Chinese students, studying in the universities and institutes of Iowa, which account 24.9% of the total international students I have been studying in the campus now today in all the schools in Iowa. And I think they will also strengthen the friendship between Iowa and China too. So I believe Vice President Xi's visit will truly enhance the friendship and will truly bring more people-to-people exchanges between our two countries, and so as to building up the cooperative partnership with mutual respect and mutual benefit. And I thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Consulate General Young. And I actually had the privilege and honor of traveling with the Consul General when I led the trade mission in June. We traveled, spent 3 days together, I think,
Yes.
traveling in Shijiazhuang and Hebei. And so it was a wonderful opportunity to start to build that friendship and relationship. You know, as we reflect upon the history of these two leaders, Governor Branstad and Vice President Xi, a very exciting aspect of this visit is really about the future and what it holds. As we move forward with our relationship, this will include the productive collaboration of our people with the Chinese agricultural communities and agricultural biotechnology. This collaboration through the U.S. Trade and Development Agency has been used as a model of a successful partnership involving the federal government, the state government, businesses, and most importantly, Iowa farmers. A strong, vibrant agricultural economy is not all that this future holds. Growth in Iowa's exports, as both the governor and the consul general have indicated, have increased nearly 1,300% over the last decade. China represents a growing opportunity for furthering mutual investments and trade. This includes also our manufacturing sector. Exports supported by jobs linked to manufacturing account for an estimated 7.2% of Iowa's total private sector employment. Nearly 1/4 of all manufacturing workers in Iowa depend on their exports to China. Companies like John Deere and Vermeer and others have exciting plans and are constructing new plants that rely on Iowa manufacturers to provide those component parts. So just as the growing China middle class means an increased demand for proteins like pork and beef, there are growing needs for financial services as well. Companies like Principal stand to benefit greatly with a strengthened relationship with China as we worked to find the opportunities to work together for retirement plans and additional financial services. We are just scratching the surface and could not be more excited to welcome Vice President Xi Jinping to Iowa. And I think we're willing to take some questions right now, right?
Sure.
Questions?
Consulate General, I'm wondering if this is high pressure for you to get it right.
Well, I feel so excited. I don't think it's quite a pressure because I do have a very, very good team with me, not only from the consulate, but also our colleagues, our partners from Iowa, from Des Moines. Actually, we are the same team. So if you ask me, do I have any pressure? I have the same pressure as the governor and lieutenant governor. So thank you very much.
We want to be really good hosts. We want this to be a wonderful
Yeah.
experience for Vice President Xi and his whole delegation.
Yeah.
We hope that he goes away feeling as good about Iowa this time as he did when he came here the first time in 1985.
Do you have any more details about the second date that morning? I know there was talk the other day about possibly visiting an Iowa farm.
Yeah, and it's my understanding there is intention to have a farm visit, and then also the details of the rest of that, I think, is being worked out between the Chinese and the USDA with regard to the event that they have planned. And obviously, we think that they should be the ones to announce the details of that. But that's going to be, I think, a very high-level
Yes.
conference and meeting of agriculture and food focus here, and having it, obviously, in Des Moines, Iowa, in the Hall of Laureates, the World Food Prize, I think is a wonderful venue for that.
You will have a special meeting at the World Food food price headquarters with the vice president and with who else, the USDA?
Right, it's
They're
a,
working on it, yeah.
Yeah.
they're working on
They're
that,
working on
and
the
I guess
details,
we
yeah.
think it's probably more appropriate for the USDA to announce the details of that. But yes, we know that's in the works, and
That will be the second day.
that'll be on the 16th, the morning. I think it's all day on the 16th. I think the vice president and I intend to be there in the morning of the 16th.
Council General, many Iowans look to China as an excellent market for agricultural products and other products, but U.S. politicians sometimes use China as a punching bag, saying, there's currency devaluation or copyright infringement. Should Iowans be concerned about future trading possibilities with China?
I don't think so. Look at the facts is that in last 10 years, the trade has been really, increased by 13%. Not only the export from China, but also export from the U.S. to the Chinese market. And especially in last 2-3 years, we have really witnessed the very steady acceleration of Chinese imports from the world market, of course, including the imports from U.S. And last year, the total imports for China whole market increased by 22%. And U.S. export to China also increased quite a lot. And I believe your competitors are not Chinese. To export to Chinese market, the competitors are other exporters to China. And I believe other exporters from Europe, from Japan, from Korea, and other markets are doing much better job than the U.S. exporters. It's not the exporters' business, I think. It's the business of the government. I think that's the problem of the policy. Currency, there is formulas, okay? There is the currency formulas accepted by all the partners, players of the international trade. If European can do business in China better, why not U.S.? With the same calculation. So it's not a matter of the currency. So I don't want to start the debating now because we don't have enough time. If you like, I can give you 2 hours to talk about it. Thank you, because my background is very economical. I was involved in international trade for 21 years. I know the problem. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
So what kind of joint projects will China and Iowa be working on?
Well, obviously, the whole area of food and agriculture is an area that we think there's great opportunity for cooperation and collaboration. Just for instance, Jeff Lamberti is past president of the Iowa Senate. His daughter is teaching on an educational exchange in Saskatchewan in the Bay Province right now. And these kind of exchanges have been going on ever since 1983. Education, sports, culture, and obviously the trade has increased dramatically. Iowa farmers do understand that it's just not an accident that we have sky-high prices for soybeans and corn. A big portion of this is because of the demand and the opportunity to sell more products in the Chinese marketplace. So we appreciate that, and that's why I think the connection with Iowa is so important. It's not just the people are the most important, and the personal relationship we have, I think, is critically important. But then also the business opportunities, and we're going to be exploring additional ones. I'm going to be asking the Vice President other areas where we may want to collaborate and work. And one of the areas that I know there's an interest is in dealing with the aging population and the pensions issue. And Principal Financial Group is the largest provider of that in the world, and they have the tallest building in Des Moines. They are very interested in, and they have a partner in China that they want to work with and help provide important services to the Chinese people. So that's one of the things that we talked about briefly when I met with Vice President Xi before. We hope to explore that in more detail. I know that Larry Zimpelman is very excited about Vice President Xi's visit, and there's many other Iowa companies. I know of some other companies, small and large, that are doing business in China or are looking at the possibility of partnering with the Chinese investments and creating jobs here in Iowa. So that's another thing that we see today. There's a lot of interest, and there will be a large delegation coming with Vice President Xi of people that have an interest in investing and creating, that will help us create jobs in Iowa and be an investment opportunity for the Chinese people.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Thanks.